Hi guys, and as always, a huge welcome back to my channel. So yesterday I put out a video mentioning I'd be doing a Q&A, so here we are, going to be going back and handpicking a few of your comments, getting back to you, a few of the ones I haven't had a chance to respond to yet, so that's going to be fun. We're going to go through those together, and I'm going to also be responding to a few comments I had yesterday on my most recent video, so thank you to everyone that commented already. And yeah, thank you to everyone watching. 700 subscribers, way above and beyond what I ever expected to achieve on this channel, seeing as it's all about a guy losing his beard and getting it back. So yeah, now we have seen how widespread this condition is. I mean, I knew it was rare, but to see the community that's built around the channel has been really amazing to see. Any comments that I haven't had a chance to get back to, I've noticed you guys have started responding to each other, which is fantastic, because I love to see your progress, see your tips and your advice and what's worked for everyone, because it is seemingly different for every guy going through this, although we have a common thread going through, which is we've had the same issue, we've woken up with those patches, what do we do about them? So really interesting and fun, exciting to see everyone communicating. So yeah, let's get straight into this one. This is from yesterday. We had on my BeardWatch Q&A video, and this is from Marion. When you had alopecia in your beard, seeing that you have progress and new black hairs starting to come in, how long did you wait between shaves? For example, 1 week or so? Well, thank you for that, Marion. If you go back to my video, I did one called To Shave or Not to Shave. If you're interested, I go into a bit more detail on this, but the gist of that video was I've seen no negative effects from shaving. If anything, I've seen benefits from it. Bear in mind, I was already a little into my regrowth phase, so I was confident enough to just shave it completely. I'd wait a week or two, then shave it again, and just continue that cycle. And every time it grew back, I did notice it was just a few more little glitters, a few glistens of Vellus hairs in there. They were very fine, very soft. You couldn't even feel them to the touch, they were that fine and soft, but they were there nevertheless. So don't be afraid if you see in those vellus hairs and you're worried that you'll shave and they'll be gone. Don't worry about that. As long as the hair is already there, all you're going to be doing is trimming off the top and it will continue to grow. So don't be afraid of that. If you're very early in the condition, I do understand your hesitancy, but from my experience, who now has his full beard back, shaving did me absolutely no harm in any way. So best of luck with that, Marion. Next up, Shade on the same video commented, would tea be a good alternative to coffee? And absolutely, I've got a ginger green tea on the go right now. So last year, for those of you that know, I did cut out alcohol, caffeine, sugar, anything that was basically an outside interference, upsetting my default settings, as it were. I decided to just cut out and try it. I was, trial and error is a big part of this condition. We're going to be trying a lot of things to see what works for us individually, but absolutely introducing caffeine back in after going completely cold turkey, green tea, any kind of tea really is going to be the way to go, and I do recommend the ginger because it does have health benefits anyway, and cozy to have a nice ginger tea, although you don't really want cozy in the middle of a heat wave, but I digress. Shade also says, you rock, thanks dude, the beard looks great, so cheers for that, really appreciate it, man. Next up we have Vincent, and he says, hi, thanks for giving back, well done on your amazing beard journey, so thanks again. What do you think's been the 3 main factors that have made a difference to your journey? So yeah, I've done a few of these videos where I talked about my top 3 tips for alopecia barbae, and I stand by each and every one of those. I went into sleep patterns, I went into reducing stress, all the things you would expect that would be a benefit, alopecia barbae or not, just good health benefits, things you can do, lifestyle changes to just benefit your overall health. So standing by all of those, but now I'm at the end of my journey and I can look back. And everything's so fresh still that I remember it so clearly every step of the way. So guys, don't think because I have my beard back that I'm any less relatable, because no, I remember everything. It's only been 3 years, couple of years, but everything is still fresh in there. So I can come back with a renewed perspective now I have my full regrowth. And looking back here, I'm going to say the first factor that I really believe contributed and made the biggest difference was mindset. Going back to the beginning, why is this condition attacking us? What did we do wrong? What's happening? And it's a very confusing time, very frustrating time, and a very annoying condition. We know this much is true. But the moment I made a turning point, which was I accepted my beard wasn't coming back. As simple as that. I just thought, you know, what's the point in looking back and looking at photos when I had the beard and now I don't? You know, there's bigger problems in life. It's time to just push forward. And I believe that change was the overall catalyst and the number one reason why I've got regrowth, because I decided to let things run in the background of my life. I've said that a few times on the channel, but making that leap, and again, it wasn't overnight. It did take a little while to come to terms with it, but just going completely clean shaven and just being like, you know what, if the beard comes back one day, fantastic. If it doesn't, then what can we do? Let's just move on. So yeah, that biggest factor there that I think contributed, the mindset, just having that right state of mind. Second main factor, setting, circumstance, whatever you want to call it. Basically your current day-to-day, what you've got going on in there, and making changes as needed. And for me, the setting I was in at the time, I wasn't very happy in my job, but as I've always been quite an optimistic person, very positive in general, I didn't even know I was going through that. It's just looking back and again having that perspective. But yeah, I wasn't very happy in the job I was in. I was working hard, but I was working towards something else rather than being kind of in the present. And just doing what I needed to do at the time, grinding it out, and it was tough, but I did it, and changing that has been a massive improvement in my mental health. And so yeah, I'd say guys, if you've got something going on personally in your workplace, something like that, making those necessary changes, changing that setting that you know is a negative for you and turning it into a positive. So yeah, so we've got mindset, we've got setting, and the third factor, diet and exercise. Cannot stress this enough. You know, focusing on personal development and bettering yourself. That actually becomes quite addictive in itself. So just find something to focus on, whether you're going for a walk, a run, so going to the gym, something like that, just something to focus on, again, taking your mind away from the condition. Before the pandemic, I was going to the gym every day and visiting the sauna when we could do that, sweating out all those impurities, opening up my pores. I was feeling the benefits from that every single day. And once that stopped, I was you know, focusing on long distance running and mountain biking and just really getting those pores to open up. And I really feel like that has a massive effect. And then the aforementioned elimination diet of getting rid of anything that you know maybe you've got a little bit of in excess. Caffeine was definitely one for me. Definitely just having way too many cups of coffee a day, but that was again my setting. So these things kind of feed into each other. So they're the top three, Vincent. Second, he says, what did you think triggered the alopecia in the first place? Yeah, it was the perfect storm of not being in the right position in my job. Diet wasn't great. I'd like pop into a fast food place next door, grab my large coffee, grab a breakfast wrap, wolf that down, and then go in for a 10-hour office shift. It wasn't the best way to go about your dietary habits. Just various things there. I haven't talked about this. I think I mentioned it once briefly. But I tried a new hay fever medication. I've suffered from allergies for many years. Nothing's ever worked. Even the non-drowsy ones just tend to make me drowsy, like the antihistamines. Nothing ever worked, so I've just learned to live with it. But anyway, this new medication came out called Flonase, and it's a nasal spray. It did have a huge book of side effects with it, like a thick little catalogue almost. And it was nosebleeds, headaches, fever, all these things that could come from it. Not one of them, of course, was losing your beard, so I had no idea. But everything did coincide. That feels like a bit of a final push off the edge when it came to activating this condition. Because I had that kind of, again, the perfect storm, and then you throw in a medication I've never tried before, and I did notice it coincided. The annoying thing is it worked. My allergies went, and I've always got that kind of trapped sneeze at the top of my nose. I'm very allergic to grass pollen. So I think that, the allergies, and then the medication, the bad diet, the workplace, the stress, all of that just, you know, I haven't felt any of that since. I've made those changes as needed, but looking back now, it's very clear to see I wasn't living my best life at that point. And finally, did you try any medication like minoxidil or steroid injections? No, actually, I've been pretty candid on the channel as well, mentioning that when I started in December 2019, I was already seeing results. I was seeing regrowth naturally without any cream or ointment or injections or steroids or anything like that. So I decided, being the stubborn guy I am, that you know what, I think I can beat this myself. I'm seeing results from these changes I've been making. Could I have sped things up? Absolutely. If I knew when I had that first patch and someone said, hey man, that's alopecia barbae, you should get a steroid injection, I would have been like, great, that's how I fix this. But because my case is a little different, I just let it kind of progress without really considering what was happening. I just thought maybe from that first patch, maybe I did miss shaving when I was doing my last trim. I didn't know, it was so new and confusing, so I didn't really have time to assess what was happening to me. And then of course it quickly developed and the rest is history. But yeah, if I knew that, if I had gone to a dermatologist and had that kind of diagnosed and they said the words alopecia barbae, that would have just made things so clear. So yeah, I was again Mr. Stubborn. I beat this thing naturally, and I also didn't want something like minoxidil, which obviously some guys use for their head hair as well, and it's very effective from what I've seen, but I know that you have to keep it up and over again going forward. You have to keep up that treatment, and I didn't want some kind of band-aid that would fix it temporarily, but you've got to do X, Y, and Z. It was very attractive to me that I wanted to get this done, get back to normal, and then stay on track without anything like that. So I did try flaxseed oil. You guys know that's a natural supplement. Again, who is to say that's really helped me? I mean, it coincided with my regrowth. I noticed good results, but it wasn't like I did nothing else and just took flaxseed oil capsules. I think it did benefit me, but it's not a cure. It may have just been that last little helping hand I needed. But flaxseed oil is as close as I've got to any kind of medication, should we say, and that's just a natural supplement. I'd say that's one of my most frequently asked questions actually, is do I take steroid injections? Have I tried them? Because a lot of guys are, and they're seeing results, so that is fantastic. And I would urge any of you, if you want to speed up that recovery, absolutely go for it. Yeah, it just wasn't something I'd considered because I didn't know enough about it. But it does seem like that seems to be pretty good. Steroid creams, steroid injections. So yeah, anyone that's going through that, please let me know your results and your progress on if you're starting a course of steroids, if you're at the end of them, because it is always fascinating to hear how you guys have done as well. Okay, next up, Ola on my Beard is Back video. They asked, does flaxseed oil decrease testosterone levels? In my experience, absolutely not. I have cut down the dose now, rather than having one at the beginning of the day, one at the end. I just have one somewhere in my day. It's not planned anymore. I just make sure I have a capsule every day. So yeah, no decreased testosterone levels on my side, and I don't think in general that's something flaxseed oil does. So Shade, this is also on my Beard is Back video, he was earlier in touch and said, he's followed my tips and noticed not completely bald patches, but they're covered in vellus hairs. How long did it take your vellus hairs to turn terminal? I know it varies from person to person, I'm just curious. So yeah, good question as always, and the vellus hairs, it basically took the whole course of my journey for them to coarsen up and darken. It is very subtle, it's very gradual. So July 2018, I got my first patch, you guys know this. October, November, it was at its worst, and even at that point the vellus hairs were there, but they were very, very short, and it almost, again, just looked like glitter on my face. They weren't hairs to speak of, they were there, but you had to really look at every angle, shining a torch on it, and that kind of over-obsessing initially that I had with the condition and regrowth, that's before I turned that corner of, you know what, I'm just going to get on with my life and not focus on it. But the point is the vellus hairs were there, and it took a while, all of the next year, the following year, to see any lengthening of the vellus hairs. And then I noticed them starting to kind of tangle together a little. They did start to coarsen. But the very last thing to happen was them getting dark. That took, March 2021 is when I had my beard back fully. It took right up to that point. I was still noticing the grey ones in January, February, and in March. Still a couple of grey ones in there as well, and I just trim those down, and they blend straight into your beard. So if you do have any of those kind of outlying longer vellus hairs that are just taking a while to darken up, but you're surrounded by dark hair, just give those ones a snip, cover over, job done. So yeah, the point is shade, it does take, as you already know, it's drastic from person to person, but personally for me, what's that now, 3 years? It's taken a while to get fully back to normal. If you've got them, they will eventually coarsen up. I have had guys come to me and say it happened a lot quicker for them, which is fantastic. But it's usually, some people actually start, it goes very quickly while they're still at their very, very short stage and soft. They'll go dark then, so you can almost see like dark stubble, but it's just slow growing. On one of my first videos, a closer look at my beard, we got Drew, who says, I got patches after I was diagnosed with COVID. It's been 3 months, the condition's still the same. What treatment do you suggest? So I wanted to choose this comment because it's interesting that COVID may have a link to it. I mean, I've actually heard that a few times now, that people got COVID and woke up with alopecia barbae. But I do wonder if that's more to do with the stress and the anxiety rather than COVID itself being a catalyst, because I think we would have heard a bit more about that. But it just is interesting how many of you have contacted me and said, you know, COVID was the start of my alopecia. But I think because of the uncertainty, now we know a lot more about the virus, but I think having it is still quite scary if you do get COVID. You know, although now many of us are vaccinated and we know how to treat the condition, it is still not a nice thing to know you have. So that can, I think, affect your stress levels and anxiety. But you asked me, Drew, you asked me what treatment do I suggest. Well, again, a lot of my treatments and my experiences that I mentioned have all been mentally focused. So really just helping yourself to focus on a hobby, or, you know, spending more time with your loved ones and just trying to let this run in the background as much as possible. So yeah, a lot of the ways I've beaten this condition have been mentally rather than anything physically. So yeah, just making those changes, identifying things in your life that may need a little tweak, and hoping that really works out for you. So we have a few more questions asking about the vellus hairs, so hopefully I've answered those already. It just is different for everyone, and as long as you have those silver hairs, then you're on the right track. We had DJ mention on my Beard is Back video that they actually cut out caffeine. They were taking absurd amounts of caffeine, in their words. Definitely took a toll on their body, and been dealing with since September 2019. So yeah, definitely another example there of caffeine being a catalyst, or at least not contributing in a positive way to the condition. So yeah, definitely anyone still wondering why the condition's not getting better, if you're still a heavy coffee drinker, just consider cutting down a little. Okay, on my Beard is Back video, we had Miguel get in touch. Hey man, do you perhaps have a picture of what it looked like at its worst? Yes, so I'm going to show these to you guys now. I've shown them, I did a live stream before and kind of held them up on my phone, but I've actually isolated the photos now. So here's a few snapshots. It was actually a little worse even than these, but this is when I started to try and grow the hair back. So this was more in like the documenting stages. I had an old video that my wife took of us on vacation, and that was the first time I kind of let it go and tried to grow it back, and that was at its true worst in November 2018. But I've not been able to find that video. It's somewhere out there. When I do find that, that's really its true worst. But this is an indication of how bad things were on both sides of my face, seeing as it started as a small patch. And you can see a bit in my moustache as well. So yeah, looking at these pictures now, when I'm sat here with my full beard, it does fill me with a lot of gratitude. But yeah, this I'm sure you can relate to, guys. I mean, I didn't just have that small patch or one patch or two. This is the result of them all joining together. And you can see in this picture here, I tried growing it back again, and that's as good as it could get. I had like one whole side of my face completely bare, basically. I just still had a bit of my moustache, but yeah, this was really at its worst that I have good photos of. So There you go. So on my March 2021 update, Dante got in touch and said, "Nice video, man, congratulations, thank you. What was your regimen for getting the beard to regrow? Do you have a video on it?" No, I don't have a video on that one, Dante, because again, it wasn't one or two things, it was a whole amalgamation of things. But I am going to be focusing a bit more on that now I do have my beard back, and I can kind of proudly look back and talk about my experiences and my journey, because I have completed my journey now. I'm going to put together a bit more of a kind of a step-by-step guide to regrowth. And again, a lot of it is mental health, but the physical things I have done, I'm going to try and put together a little package for people that you guys can follow. If it doesn't work for you, then that's fine. But these are, again, the things that personally worked for me, and I'm going to put that out there in a video very soon, and hopefully you guys start following that and you can get back to me with your results. So yeah, stay tuned on that front there, Dante. Okay, on my Beard is Back video, I had quite an interesting comment from Marcos a few months ago, and he says, "I've got 2 big patches as well around my jawline. Now being Spanish is a thing, I can't be a macho man anymore without my beard. To be honest, I'm painting those patches with a marker and a pen, and from what my close friends told me, it looks like a beard, so I'm not very affected. It's growing back little by little." So what I will say on that one, Marcos, is whatever works for you. I wouldn't recommend using a marker. They're not meant for your skin. But again, if you do that and it fills you with confidence, and your friends are saying, "Hey, I can't tell," then again, whatever works for you. But maybe I'd recommend something. This is actually a tip given to me since my beard's been back, so I haven't been able to try this out because it's fully back now. But mascara. So it's a strange one, it's a ladies' mascara, a makeup item. But an interesting fact about mascara, especially if you get a waterproof mascara, is it started off as a beard filler. So gentlemen used to use it back in the day to actually fill in patches of their beard. So rather than using a marker, we don't know what kind of risk that may entail, because you don't know what stuff's in it, if it's a Sharpie or something like that, the chemical makeup. Use something safe for skin, like a mascara. So give that a go, let me know your results. We also had Kyle respond to him and say, "I noticed patches around my jawline and chin. I'm using a marker too, changing my diet, hopefully it grows back." So yeah, Kyle, let me know if you're still doing that. And then I think the mascara is going to be really good if you've got any vellus hairs, because it'll just be able to just dye those black, basically. If those vellus hairs have started to group together, mascara will just kind of fill that up, like a girl's eyelashes. That's going to is to appear to make them more fuller. So why wouldn't that apply to a beard as well? So just a thought when I saw that about the marker. But yeah, again, whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you, let me know if you've seen continued regrowth. On my Beard is Back video, once again, we had Snoopy get in touch and said, "Hello, have you bad teeths? Because my dentist said that a bad tooth causes inflammation, hair loss may develop in the beard." That's a great point. I am lucky to have had, even for a Brit, good dental hygiene, no problems in that department, but a lot of health issues can stem from poor oral health. So definitely a valid point. If you've got anything, it makes sense, it's around the jawline, it's under the moustache here, where your teeth basically sit underneath your skin in your mouth. So it makes sense. If you've got any concerns, definitely, obviously, get a dentist checkup. But that's a very, very good point. Not the cause for my alopecia barbae, but I can see how that would be. Okay, and Logan says on the same video, my beard is back. He says, "So my patches started about a year ago. I have the silver hairs growing in, but the bald patches are getting bigger. What did you do to regrow your beard?" So that's something that kind of coincides with the regrowth as well, as you may notice certain patches kind of just changing as others catch up. So in my case, the first patch, which was on this side, which I always call my bad side, that one just continued to spread all the way up my face. But the other one that developed on the left side came later, but also grew back sooner. So there's no rhyme nor reason to the way our regrowth happens, the patterns it follows. There's no set course. But don't be worried if there are certain changes still occurring. As long as you're getting grey, white vellus hairs in certain patches that's a good sign for any patches you're going to get. They're going to follow that same course. Yeah, hopefully that was 4 months ago, Logan. Hopefully you've seen regrowth since then, and things have kind of petered out. You've been dealing with it for a year at that point. A year into my journey, it was still bad, but I did have the silver vellus hairs. But then again, I did have a relapse last year when I started taking biotin. I just think I overloaded on biotin. I already get enough from eggs and almonds, but everyone kept saying biotin, biotin, got to do it, try it, try it. Again, just an example of something that didn't work for me. But just showing you basically that things can still develop and happen even when you're on a good course and a good direction. Things can still catch you off guard with a condition. So yeah, you're a year in, Logan, you're on the right track, and hopefully you're starting to see more regrowth in those last 4 months. Okay, same video again, my beard is back. We have Love You to Life, and they say, hello, I've been dealing with alopecia barbae since 2017. I've tried many different treatments, but nothing has worked so far. I'd lost hope because it's been so long, but I see that you've been dealing with it for several years as well, so I was hoping you could give me some advice about the modalities of treatments that you tried have worked for you. Thanks. So, yeah, that's always a shame to hear that you've been dealing with it for so long, 2017. That's even earlier than mine, July 2018. And here I am with my regrown beard. So it'd be interesting to hear, Love You to Life, which treatments you've tried, and it'd be interesting to hear if you tried things and things got worse, or you tried things and there was a little glimmer of hope and then you stopped. Or I want to kind of hear more about your journey as well. So yeah, get in touch again and let me know what worked for you and what didn't work for you. Because again, for me, I know the things that didn't biotin I just mentioned, absolutely I stayed away from that, but I know some guys swear by it. Flaxseed oil, it's helped me, but it may not help everyone. So again, the things I focused on are things that I can control, that I know are going to be good for my health anyway, exercising and my diet and changing those things I had in excess, basically. But yeah, another thing is just that positive mindset. It really can't be overstated, but I also know that for some people you can't just snap into that. It does take time. I mentioned earlier, it doesn't happen overnight. But it's just, again, staying here on the channel, talking with these guys. Comments are great, even replying to Love You to Life. We had Mohammed get in touch and said, hey, don't give up, bro, I've been dealing with it since 2017 as well. Make sure you sleep properly, take vitamin D. So this is what I love, just again, you guys getting in touch, helping each other out. And it is always the same things that are helping us improve sleep, taking vitamin supplements, any of these things. I have had guys that messaged me though and said, you know, my alopecia started when I started taking a multivitamin, and it's just really interesting to see all the different ways this can start for people. So on a closer look at my beard regrowth after alopecia, we had Muhitin get in touch and said, I got beard loss after I applied garlic, how about that? I'm serious, by the way. So thanks, Muhitin. Yeah, I believe you're serious. But a little confused though, did you start taking garlic first before you lost your beard and that led to beard loss, or did you have a patch and tried it and it made it worse? Because it just sounds like you got beard loss once you applied garlic. So yeah, just interested to see why you were adding garlic. Maybe you heard that it strengthens your beard. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear that. You guys know my experience with garlic. For those of you that don't, I did try it. There was a video on YouTube. If you search right now, alopecia barbae garlic, you'll see the thumbnail of the guy holding the garlic up against his patches. I tried it for a bit, but it had no effect on me, apart from making me stink of garlic, especially when I was exercising. It filled the room with garlic. So yeah, no good effects for me. Some people then go on to say about red onion. I'm actually allergic to red onion, which is a strange allergy, but I'd never in a million years rub that on my face. But once again, I do know that some guys swear by it. It does have acid there, and one of the theories from Muhitin was that garlic's natural juice is acidic and it can burn the hair follicles. I don't think it's acid in that sense. It's actually meant to, garlic's obviously got many health benefits too, so I think that's where the idea comes from, that it can, it's an anti-inflammatory and it can, you know, it's got healing properties, garlic. But I just don't think it's the right thing to do, rubbing it on your face. But again, it's worked for some guys, so go for it. I could be sat here with my beard back and saying, hey man, I use garlic all the way, but I didn't, but I know a lot of guys do. So yeah, let me know about that, Mohitin. On my to shave or not to shave video, we had Rohit say, "Hi brother, my younger brother suffering from the same condition. Can you tell me, did your situation get under control, or did your entire beard grow back?" Well, yes, thankfully it did. But this is a good example, this comment here. I chose this one because he says his younger brother is going through the condition. So I mentioned when I started the channel, it could be a loved one you've got going through it as well. So it is interesting to see the other people it affects as well as the person going through it. You know, people just looking out for each other. I have had colleagues in my most recent work where they said, you know, their brother has it and their mother's got an autoimmune condition and their cousin has it in his beard. And again, it's just an example of everyone sticking together. I did tell them about the channel, so again, to see people that are going through it, it is what this community is all about. But yeah, lovely comment, Rohit, thanks for that. Okay, so that's it for now, guys. Great going through your comments here, and hopefully I've been able to shed some light on your burning questions. Hopefully you like the new setup, a bit more of a direct line to you guys, got the camera back out on the tripod, a little bit more comfort going on, rather than just holding my phone. Is how I've been doing my most recent updates. I've saved a few of your comments and emails because I feel like they need a bigger video to dive into some of the topics. So yeah, again, nice to be looking back on the condition and being there with my renewed perspective with full regrowth. So yeah, there's going to be some interesting videos coming very soon. Thank you for sticking with me on the channel, guys. Really appreciate it, and hopefully you've enjoyed today's video, and I'll be back in touch really soon. Cheers.